Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome back. Our next guest is an emergency medicine physician and co-founder of the Three Doctors Foundation. He's here to speak about the work that he is doing with his foundation, his organization, and to highlight the ways students, teachers, and parents can protect themselves from the monkeypox virus. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Sampson Davis. Doc, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Great to be back on with you there, Dr. Bob.
Always a pleasure to see you too. Like I said, I got that crystal waiting for you. Make the great honoree, but you do so many wonderful things. You have your own foundation with the Three Doctors. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Three Doctors Foundation, there's three of us. There lies the name Three Doctors Foundation, but the three of us, we made this unconventional pact to become doctors, man, back in 1990s. And we went through high school, college, and medical school together. We became physicians in 1999, and in 2000, as residents, we just decided to get back to the community. So we formed the Three Doctors Foundation, and we started to do programs within the inner city communities, things focused on health, education, leadership, and mentoring. And we just recently celebrated our 22nd year, which is astonishing to think that we've been around that long, and that I am that old.
I remember when you first started, we did something in Newark, New Jersey. I think it was one of your first galas or a gathering. And I said, wow, the Three Doctors. And we were hanging out and I got a chance to meet you guys. And I really, really enjoyed all the wonderful things that you're doing in our community. And, that's my passion too. I'm a community guy, and I see what you're doing, and I really, really admire everything that you're about. So you're doing that, but listen, speaking of schools and education and everything, it's back to school time, and a lot of people are worrying about different viruses. And another big one that's out there, which seems to be getting bigger and bigger, is monkeypox. Everybody said, what the heck is monkeypox?
Yeah.
And why do we have to worry about monkeypox? What is that? Give us a little overview of what it's all about and why we should be concerned about it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, monkeypox is a scary virus. It's something that has been in existence forever. It was eradicated, and pretty much we've seen sort of the presence of it disappeared pretty much in 1980. The virus was eradicated. Very prevalent in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, but with the vaccine, the virus was eradicated and it disappeared, and now has made a resurgence or reappearance. So when we say viruses are eradicated, like polio and measles, it doesn't mean that they're gone. It's just that the infectivity of the spread of the virus is not any longer happening. But the virus is still present in the universe. So this virus has now once again reappeared and taken advantage of the bodies. Monkeypox is similar to like the chickenpox virus, like your zoster, herpes zoster, or we call it zoster rash, or shingles, I should say, probably is the better term. So like the shingle virus, your chickenpox virus, monkeypox is in that sort of same family, and it causes these large pimples and lesions on your body. The challenge with monkeypox, as we go back to school, is that you can pick up the virus, but the rash can appear, or it may take up to 2 to 3 weeks to appear. So between picking the virus up and the appearance of the rash, you are still considered contagious. So you can have no symptoms, or you can have fever, body aches, all what we call flu-like symptoms, and spread the virus. And then the lesions appear 2 weeks later. And at that time, obviously, you have something.
Is that the only symptom, the lesions?
The lesions is the more of the physical appearance, but the symptoms are flu-like symptoms. So everything you get with the common cold or flu: body aches, fever, chills, headaches. You may have sore throat, congestion. So it seems like your common cold or your flu. And I mean, to add that now, as we go back to school, to what we have in place with coronavirus and with common colds and with just the flu itself, this is another sort of item in the bag, if you will, that we have to be concerned about.
So how is it transmitted?
So it's unique. It's not as easily spread as something as a common cold. right? It's not as easily spread as the coronavirus, where you and I can be 6 feet apart. You yell my name, I say hello back to you, and we transmit coronavirus. Yeah, with this, it's a few ways. So one is direct skin to skin contact, right? So if you have a lesion or a pustule or pimple that's a monkeypox and you rub it against, somebody else's hand by shaking their hand or by hugging them, you can spread the virus. It can exist and live on items that you touch. So if you touch a doorknob with your lesion, with the monkeypox lesion on your hand, I come along and I touch it, I can pick it up that way. And close contact respiratory droplets, meaning like not far distance, but if you and I are having a very close conversation on an airplane or a train ride or a bus ride, we can spread it that way. We have seen an increase, and we don't know exactly why. It's more prevalent currently today in the LGBTQ community. We've seen an increase in the lesions and the rash. And a lot of that has to do with the areas that we see affected the most are sexual areas of the body that we see an increase in the lesions itself. Why is it more prevalent in that community versus general population? We don't quite know as of yet. But at the same time, the scientists are studying to see, is this more of a sexual transmitted issue or is it, but we do know that everyone can get it. So it's not only isolated to a specific community. So I don't want to leave that unclosed or not spoken about and fully. It doesn't matter your preference. Everyone can pick up this virus. No one is immune to it.
Doc, tell us, you work in the ER. Who are you seeing mostly? What type of cases are coming into you?
It's changed. I mean, it's everything is cyclical and everything is sort of depending on what is present in society, right? So at one point a year ago, it was all coronavirus, all coronavirus cases and everything of that nature. That pendulum has sort of switched now. And so it swung over to the other side. So we still see corona cases, virus cases, but we still seeing a lot of situations as it relates to now appendicitis, heart attacks, strokes, all that is still there. We weren't seeing many of those cases, and not that they weren't happening, they were happening. People just was refraining going to the hospital, and unfortunately a lot of people sat home and lost their lives because they were scared to go to the hospital because of coronavirus. But now we're still seeing those cases, and that's always going to be somewhat the backbone or the bread and butter of emergency medicine, which I practice. Now we're starting to see, though, a huge increase in mental health issues as it relates to depression, anxiety. There's post-traumatic stress that has happened here as well from coronavirus. We're seeing a lot of substance abuse. My goodness, I mean, there's a lot of people because of the social isolation and the work from home model started happy hour at 11 a.m. and they continue to drink. So we see an increase in alcohol abuse and substance abuse as it relates to the pandemic and social isolation, mental health. And then also just preventable diseases. So a lot of patients did not go for their mammogram, did not go for their colonoscopy, did not go for their blood sugar screening or their annual physicals. And so those individuals that were in that gray area, they were missed, and now they have the active disease process. So now they have colon cancer, now they have breast cancer, unfortunately. So we're seeing a lot of disease prevalence that we didn't see as heightened as once before. And unfortunately, life expectancy has gone down instead of going up, which we have the technology which make life expectancy longer versus shorter.
Yeah. Do you think COVID-19 is the last question, and I have so many more, but we need a whole hour because, Doc, we can get into it. Do you see COVID-19 as exacerbating a lot of the diseases, the degenerative diseases that people are having or suffering from today?
No, absolutely. Yeah, great question. Absolutely. So COVID-19 is its own bucket. We saw life loss. Millions of people died from COVID just in itself. But then the second bucket is it prevented people from going for their screening. So we see increase in cancers now. It prevented people from going for their stress tests, so increase in heart disease. Then you have those who are now suffered social isolation and increase in mental challenges
Yeah.
because they didn't have anyone to to talk to. We are a community that interact and touch and hug and speak and go out to dinner. And now, if I live alone and I am in my own sort of silo, then I'm going to deal with everything that I'm dealing with by myself. And that social interaction went away. And then, therefore, we see an increase in mental health challenges. And also, last, we've seen an increase in educational challenges. Our kids, can you imagine 6, 7 years old being told to sit in front of an iPad? I can't even do it
Uh,
in my 40s, you know? So
yeah.
imagine a 6-year-old sitting in front of an iPad trying to learn. So there's an educational gap year that has been lost from academics and just social interaction from that youth group itself that
Yeah.
we're seeing ramifications from now.
There's a whole lot going on. People are fighting in an airplane like 35,000 feet in the air. But, God is good. Hopefully we can get ahead on all of that stuff. And thank God for you and the 3 doctors for being in a position that you're in. You're able to help a whole lot of people. We appreciate you and we love you, Doc. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
All right. Doc, you have a website, or how can we follow you?
Yes. My website is DR and first name, last name, Sampson, Sampson, Davis.com, DAVIS. And that's the same for my social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, DR Sampson Davis.
We appreciate you. Dr. Sampson Davis, emergency medicine physician and co-founder of the 3 Doctors Foundation. Love you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. We want to thank our guests for joining us and you, our viewers, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can see me over 107.5 WBLS, and I'll see you. We'll walk together, side by side, toe to toe, elbow to elbow. Yeah, we do the thing. We do it right over 107.5 WBLS. We want to thank our crew at BronxNet. Thank you for doing the things that you do. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you. What you make of yourself is your gift to God. To choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. I'll catch you another day, another way. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Love you all. Peace.